So we'll all be back. We'll have the next session with Ibrahim and Donald. So please just, you can have water, just if you want to have a grab of coffee. But if those who came a little bit late and want to register their names, I think the paper is outside. It would be great if you do it. Okay? Thank you. Okay, hope you enjoyed the coffee that you didn't provide. Anyway. We are going to start with our second and last part. So I'm going to introduce my colleague, Ibrahim. So Ibrahim Farah is an instructor at the Faculty of Arts and Sciences at the University of Balamand, at the University Librarian at the University Libraries. He served in the IFLA DDRS committee from 2012 till 2021. Ibrahim has participated in many projects and initiatives, including Received Initiative and Hermes project. It's fine. Thank you, Ibrahim, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Katia, and sorry for correcting, but I was promoted to University Librarian very recently, and this is not reflected in the... Anyway, so as you can see, I cannot stand still, so I'll be walking around, and this is a training, so I'll not be talking alone. You'll be talking as well with me, okay? So I'll ask questions, and you have to answer, okay? So please interact. So the presentation is like, the topic is very familiar to you. It's open access. And you are all librarians and you are all familiar with open access. But why we are bringing open access to this training? If you think about the keywords that they were generated from previous presentations, so just think about the keywords. What was the keywords? What some keywords that were generated from like the previous presentations? Collaboration, learning, open sources, open educational materials. So open. Let's focus on the keyword open. Open access is one of the keywords because when we talk about resource sharing, we would like to create a culture of openness. We're not talking about. I'm sure you may ask yourself why it is related to resource sharing. Why open access is related to resource sharing? If it is open access, I don't have to order it, so it's not related. Okay, but when we encourage an open culture, when we encourage open educational resources, when we encourage collaboration and open access, we will have a better word, if I can say that. So this is why we're talking about open access here, just to focus or to endorse the open culture. Okay, the presentation is mainly about ethics, legal matters, and what the European Union is doing and how they are endorsing open access. So the outline is here. We have some definitions, explanation about the traditional publication model and the drawback of the traditional system, the open access model, open access in Europe, open access and ethics, and open access current status. And finally, the advantages for students and readers and self-licensing and Creative Commons. Okay? So by definition, you all know that open access was initiated in the Budapest Open Access Initiative in 2002. And it is defined as the worldwide electronic distribution of the peer-reviewed journal literature completely free, and unrestricted access to it by scientists, scholars, teachers, students, and other curious minds. Berlin Declaration followed the Budapest in 2003 and defined open access as the free, irrevocable, worldwide right to access and the license to copy, use, distribute, transmit, and display the work publicly, and to make and distribute derivative works in any digital medium for any responsible purpose, subject to proper attribution of the author. Okay, so the second definition is full of copyright terms that you will learn in the next presentation with my colleague, Donald. But what we can get from this definition is open access is digital and completely free. Okay, so if I want to say it in the Creative Commons license, it is CC BY. Okay, only the attribution is required. So we cannot license an open access material. Another definition is by Suber, 2008. It's a more simple one. So open access is the literature. The literature is digital, online, free of charge, and free of most copyright and licensing restrictions. So this is to define copyright. Okay. So you all know the traditional publication model. What is the traditional publication model? Researchers, they write articles, and then they send it to the publisher. Okay? They want to disseminate their findings, they send it to the traditional publisher. The publisher will ask the researcher to sign a copyright release form. Many researchers, they give all their rights to the publisher. So they don't have even the right to deposit their work in institution repository or to share the work with their peers. Okay? So scholarly research is not freely accessible under the traditional mode or the subscription-based journals. It's not free because there's a paywall. If you don't pay, you don't have access. Okay? And this is against the concept of equity. So research should be like users or researchers should have equal access to research materials. And under the traditional model, access is not equitable, and it is based on the ability to pay. So institutions who has money, they can get whatever they want. But most of the people around the world, most of the institutions, they don't have access to much money. So they need resources. And this is against equity between people, especially in research. And this is a barrier for the dissemination of research. So an article, if it is published in a subscription-based journal, it depends on the price. If it is very expensive, people cannot get it. Okay, and this is a barrier for dissemination of research material. You will understand this by looking at this chart. So if I want to talk from a business perspective, in business there is something that we call return on investment. Okay, so the government in most countries, research is funded by the government. The government is paying money for institutions or for researchers to produce research to benefit the public. Okay, so when the government is funding research, they expect that the fund will have a big impact on the people. Under the traditional way of publishing, the money funded by the government goes to researchers, to universities, and then after writing their article, the research paper, researchers, they have to submit their paper for dissemination, for publication, so they submit it to a commercial publisher who makes them sign a copyright release form. They take their rights, and then they publish the results in subscription-based journal. Okay, so then the subscription-based journal is purchased by the same institution. So if you can imagine the flow, the money of the government is going to researcher. The results are going to publisher who are publishing in a paid, in a subscription-based journal, and then the same institution is buying this journal. Okay, so the flow is not correct. So there is no impact on the public. The one who are benefiting the most from the money are the publishers. Okay. So what are the drawbacks of the traditional system in addition to the return on investment or the impact of the research on the public? The authors are not paid. While the publishers are making money, the authors are not paid to publish. Even the peer reviewer. So when they send the article to peer reviewer, the peer reviewers are not paid. They are doing free work, they are providing free hours for the publisher to make money. So also most publishers, they require authors to transfer their copyright to them. Okay, so you write the article and then you don't have rights on your article, on your product. Or you can have limited rights, but you cannot share your work, okay, or deposit it in an institution repository, for example, unless you have an agreement with the publisher. So basically, authors are giving their work for free, and the institutions are buying back their work through subscription-based journals. So this is what we talked about, that the money provided by the government is not impacting the public, directly impacting the public. Okay. In the open access model, traditionally, we couldn't change this for centuries because the only way to publish was in print. Then when the internet was discovered, we had another way to publish, which is the internet. So open access becomes possible because we have access to the internet. There's another way to publish. And we have different routes. You all know that we have different routes in open access publishing. The green route is when the author can deposit their work in an institutional repository. And the gold route is when publishing in a completely open access journal. Okay? So we have two routes, the green and the gold route. Also, some commercial publishers are offering the possibility of authors to publish in open access journal. So they can, if they pay for publication, they make the article open. Okay? So what are institutional repositories? Institutional repositories are online databases. Usually institutional means they are moderated by the university, but not all the time. They provide free access to scholarly publications. They are generally built on software like open source software like Fedora and DSpace, ePrints. But we also have subject-based repositories such as PubMed Central, for example. It is an open, or ERIC, for example, okay? An open repository, but it is specialized in medicine. ERIC is in education. Originally, they work according to the self-archiving mode or self-deposit mode. So the author, they have to deposit their work in the repository. And they can be, of course, discovered or shared or discovered through search engines or harvesters such as Oyster. Okay. However, open access journals are completely free. So they are journals and they provide all the articles for free. The content is free to the end user. Some of them are peer-reviewed. Many of them are peer-reviewed now. And they use the author pays model, which means the author, they have to pay to get published. Usually the authors, they don't pay from their own pocket. They pay from the grant or from their institution. Most of the open access journals are published by universities, societies, not-for-profit publishers, and also by some commercial publishers. DOAG is an example of a directory of open access journals. It has millions of articles. Okay, so this is the same flow, but we applied it to open access journals or open access initiatives. So the money provided by the government to researcher, the government provides the money to researcher, and then the researcher will do the research and then write the paper. They have the choice to deposit it in an institutional repository or to publish it in an open access journal with or without embargo period. And they retain their rights on their publication. So technically, they don't retain the rights. They provide the rights to the user. So it is an open license. Okay. And the public can, of course, download the article freely. So this is a good return on investment because the money, the government money, have a direct impact on the public. The public can access freely the research materials. So this is a good return on investment. In Europe, they have some projects to encourage open access. So Spark Europe is one of Europe's key and long-standing voices advocating for unfettered access to research for education. And the European Commission supports open access specifically in funding programs such as Horizon 2020, which is the Commission's main research and innovation funding program. Also, Open Research Europe is a scholarly publishing platform available to Horizon 2020 beneficiaries. So all the results of the Horizon 2020 projects are published in Open Research Europe, which is the institutional repository for Horizon 2020. Open access resources, also known as the European Commission Library, is also a database of resources that are accessible to everyone. I will show you the example of open access resources. So, where is it? No. It's here. Okay, so this is the EC library. It is a database where you can find research materials published in open access mode. They also have open access resources. For example, if you click here and click on education, they will give you example directory of open access books, DOAG, EU publications. So resources, open access resources, and open access search tools as well. Oyster, Bayes, okay. Okay, now, some ethics. So as you know, every topic we have people who are pro and people who are against it. So the people who are pro open access, they said that sharing data will lead to a rapid scientific progress and a reduction in unnecessary duplication of scientific effort. So when we can see what other people are doing, then we don't duplicate work. We can complete each other, okay? Also, ethically, there is something called the obligation of reciprocity, which means the findings of research funded by the public should be made freely available to those who have paid for it. So the money is coming from the public. The government money is the money coming from the public. So according to the obligation of reciprocity ethical concept, the money is coming from the public and it should go back to the public. It should benefit the public. Also, subscription-based models are unfair because they require publicly funded academics to submit their work to commercially run journals, to carry out peer review, and sit as members of editorial boards, and then to pay to access the fruit of their intellectual labor. So, as we were saying now, the authors are writing the articles for free. They ask people to review the articles. They ask people to serve on the editorial board, and everything is for free, while they are making millions of dollars out of selling these articles or the content to libraries or to universities. Okay, so this is an unfair model. Also, the current subscription-based system is conservative and has the potential to lead to a narrowing of intellectual and scholarly life. So it's very conservative. It's based on the pay model, on the subscription-based model, and this will narrow the intellectual and scholarly life. People who are arguing against open access, or it's not totally against, we have a recommendation here that they need to develop an evidence-based, or we need to develop an evidence-based around which model of publishing are most likely to lead to a sustainable, high-quality research. So the claim here, it is like they are giving us a recommendation that we have to create an evidence-based system around which model, the traditional or the open access model, will lead to a more sustainable research. So the claim is that open access is not sustainable, because if you have money, if the author pay, then we publish that journal. If not, we cannot publish that journal. However, the subscription-based model are well-established publishers. They have big funds, so they are more sustainable. Okay, they can stay in the business for a long time. The compatibility of open access with sustainable research collaboration. So this is the same claim that open access was mainly projects. It was not well established. So how we can make it more sustainable? Also, the people who are against open access, they said that the gold access is similar to the subscription model because it favors the financial interest of the publisher. So in the traditional model, they are selling the articles or the journals to make money. In the gold access model, the authors are paying to get published. So there's always a financial interest. What is the current status of open access now? Some figures, because I don't want it to be very boring, the presentation. So when you see figures, you see where we are going now. So according to the Lens Scholarly Database, it is a search platform with over 245 million references. Open access represents 17.5% of the whole set. So 17.5% of the whole set of the Lens Scholarly Database are published in open access mode. And since 2020, 35% of documents were published in open access mode. So open access is increasing. Also, Dimensions is a selective scientific database with over 125 million references. 29% of the documents are in open access. And in 2020, 53% of the documents in Dimensions were published in open access mode. So we are getting toward an open access world. So it's probably in a few years, most scholarly publication will be in open access mode and available through search engines and platforms for everyone to use. This is a good sign that we are heading toward an open culture. What are the advantages of open access for users? So free access to literature, they need regardless of the budget of subscription. So users can get free access to research materials. They don't have to think about the budget. They have the possibility of text mining and other forms of text processing and analysis. So when the articles or when the documents are available in open access mode, we can do text mining or more analysis. Users can access research literature regardless of the institution they belong to. So it's a universal access. It doesn't matter if you belong to this university, you don't have to have a username and a password to access the materials. You can access it from anywhere in the world. You only need internet access. And professors can also make the research paper available to their students. So it is important when talking about open access to bring the issue of illegal or shadow libraries, because we know the difference, but many users, they don't know the difference between open access and illegal projects or shadow libraries. Illegal projects or shadow libraries are personal initiatives that are built on hacking contents from different databases and publishers and providing them for free. So we should make clear to publishers that we do not support illegal or shadow projects. We do support open access because this is illegal. Example, Sci-Hub or Library Genesis, we know that a lot of users, they are using them. Some of them, they are aware that they are illegal. Some of them, they are not aware. So the content in these databases is not open access because it's a hacked content. So it is a stolen content. Okay, so the use of such content can put the user in a very diligent position as copyright infringer. Before talking about, or let me talk about self-licensing, and then we will discuss the issue of one of the databases with our colleague Al-Walid. He will explain to us what publishers can do to play around the open access. Okay, you know self-licensing. Open access, when you publish in open access, it means you are publishing in CC BY. CC BY, it means you don't keep any rights. Only the right to be cited, actually. Okay? But some people, they would like to publish and to give some rights to the user. They would like to give to protect some rights, to keep some rights, and give other rights to the user. So those people, they have to get a copyright license from from Creative Commons. So Creative Commons is a self-licensing tool that provides a set of licenses ranging from a very open license to a strict license. Okay? Okay, can I play a video here, as they can hear? Okay. To understand copyright. Creative Commons better.
Now we can communicate, share, and work together using the exceptional distribution network that is the Internet. Information and content can fly between us in exciting new ways. But it's important to know that when something is created, say a photo, a document, or a music track, it's automatically protected by copyright. Copyright enables people to say who can share and reuse their creations. You must always obtain someone's permission before sharing or reusing their work, even when it's posted online. But what if a creator wants everyone to use their work, without the hassle of granting permission over and over? This is where Creative Commons can help. Creative Commons provides licensing tools that are free to use. You can apply a license to your work, which refines your copyright and streamlines how you give permission. Zach here downloads a photo called CC Kiwi that he wants to use in his science project. He can do this without asking Kiri, the photographer, first, because she's already given permission with a Creative Commons license. Kiri's license is legally robust, but easy for Zach to understand. She's told the world, including Zach, that they can use CC Kiwi as long as they acknowledge her as the original photographer. There are more rules Kiri could have included. Creative Commons licenses are made up of licensed elements. You can think of them as rules, and each have their own special symbol. This is attribution. It means that Zach must acknowledge Kiri when he publishes his science project containing her photo. This is non-commercial. It means no one else but Kiri is permitted to make money from CC Kiwi. Tim wants to print the photo onto t-shirts and distribute them to friends. He can do this, but he must not sell them. This is no derivatives, and it means that Kiri hasn't given permission to change her photo. Kate can use CC Kiwi on her design blog, but will need to ask Kiri before retouching or mixing up the image. And this is share alike. It means new creations that use CC Kiwi need to carry the same license. Jack incorporates his own remix of CC Kiwi in his video installation, but he must share the work under the same terms that Kiri has. Each Creative Commons license gives permission to share and includes the attribution rule. So people who find your Creative Commons licensed work are automatically allowed to share it, but are required to acknowledge you if they do. The other three license elements are optional, and you can choose which ones to add, if any. Here are the 6 combinations that make up Creative Commons licenses. The difference between them is how many rules apply when someone wishes to use your work. The attribution license allows reusers the most freedom, and the attribution non-commercial no derivatives license allows the least freedom. The attribution license and the attribution share alike licenses are sometimes referred to as free cultural works approved licenses. These 3 licenses restrict commercial use of a work. And these 2 licenses do not give permission for adapting or remixing. These 2 licenses require new works to be licensed under the same terms. To choose and apply one of these licenses, and to view their terms in more detail, visit us at creativecommons.org.nz. Or you can answer some questions to help you decide which license best suits your needs at creativecommons.org/choose. There are some good ways to find other people's Creative Commons licensed work online. You can use a search filter by going to the Creative Commons website. Or why not try the Jamendo website for music, Flickr for images, or Digital NZ for New Zealand content. Using Creative Commons licenses could help your creations reach more people. Maybe you want to connect with others across the globe and take turns in improving your rapport. Or maybe you just want to have fun, remixing someone else's work. Whatever reason you have to share your work, you'll find there are scientists, educators, companies, and public agencies who are using Creative Commons. By opening up permission, just imagine how much we can achieve. collaborating on what we hold in common, being open about big decisions, and finding solutions in the spaces between us. Let's work together, confidently and legally. It's good to share with Creative Commons.
They are publishing in open access while they are doing something else.
You make it sound worse than it is. I mean, okay, so publishers sometimes, I'm not saying, so it's not all the time. I'm just saying that whenever you give rights or sign a license agreement with a publisher, just read exactly what you're signing. So sometimes publishers would publish it as Creative Commons. You retain copyright as an author, and the article is published as open access, and everything is fine. But some publishers say, give us a license, an exclusive license, perpetual, that we can sub-license to others, and we'll publish it as Creative Commons CC BY and C, but you as an author cannot use it commercially. And you be, yeah, as an author you can't use it commercially. You have the same rights as third parties, and it's exclusive license to the publisher. And some major publishers do this. And we in Qatar National Library have been having some discussions with them. And yeah, they gave us some replies that are kind of generic and from, I guess, from the communications team. But we're calling them out on these licenses. So far, we know of two. The biggest publisher in the world is doing this. Elsevier is doing this. And Karger. Now, in the library, we are supporting authors in Qatar to publish open access, but we're making sure that the authors retain equity in a sense. That we want authors to retain rights and be the ones who can choose whether a work is commercial or not, and not the publishers. So this is just one example. And I do hope that libraries around the world are catching this, because it's quite important. And we shouldn't let publishers get away with it. Right? It's not all that bad.
Yes, we don't want to be negative towards publishers, but as you have said, we have to read carefully and not to be deceived by all the invitations publishers send us to go travel somewhere or go for a dinner to make us sign things that we don't want to sign. Thank you, Al-Walid. Let me put some questions, and we don't have much time. Donald will jump right in. Okay, we have covered this. So some thoughts for you to think about. Of course, the comments pro and against. So which one convinced you the most? What is your position toward shadow libraries? Because I'm a librarian, and I know that many librarians, they said they are doing a great job. They are making research material available to the public. They are the Robin Hood of science. So do you consider them to be the Robin Hood of science or stealers? These are questions, so I'm not thinking any side. The last question is for students, but I guess we don't have any student here with us, so you can disregard it. And then you can also answer the Penti question that we have. Anyone would like to share any thought? Okay. Menti, not Penti. Okay, I guess it is clear. Everyone is getting the message. Okay, so 1 and 4 is the correct answer. I'm ready to
There is one more, Ibrahim.
okay. Yeah, okay. Did I choose? Okay, okay. Okay. I thought I should choose the word. Okay, it is obvious that open and open access are very flagrant here. So, so these are the most important keywords. We're talking about an open culture. We're talking about open access, and I guess all the training is revolving around the same topic. So thank you very much for listening, and I will leave the floor now to my colleague Donald. Thank you very much.